Hi, I'm Katie, and I need to tell you about two guys who thought curses were hilarious. Spoiler alert, they were very, very wrong. So, meet Dave and Randy, my neighbors. They're best friends. Incredibly loud and just dumb. Think of them as human golden retrievers, all enthusiasm, zero foresight. One night, they stumble home from one of those cheesy ghost tours downtown, and they're carrying something. They didn't just buy a souvenir. They borrowed a cursed item from a supposedly haunted antique shop. And what was this terrifying, ancient artifact, you ask? It was a ceramic duck. Yes, a duck. But this wasn't just any ordinary ceramic duck. This one had glowing red eyes and a little label attached to its base that literally said, "Do not mock the duck." So, what's the very first thing these two geniuses do? They mock the duck. They named it Quackula and officially declared it their new roommate. The mockery didn't stop there. Oh no! They dressed it up in little doll clothes, gave it a tiny pair of sunglasses, and started making TikToks with it. I saw one video where Randy was fake choking on the floor while Quackula sat on his chest, with ketchup splattered everywhere for dramatic effect. It had like 12 views. I tried to warn them. Seriously, I went over there and said, "Guys, maybe don't taunt the demonic-looking water."
Their landlord warned them. The pizza delivery guy warned them.
But they just laughed it off. They were having too much fun with their cursed little friend. Then, the weird stuff started happening. At first, it was small, almost prank-like things. Dave woke up one morning with his ears completely stuffed with breadcrumbs. No explanation. Randy started quacking in his sleep. Not loudly, just soft, continuous little quacks. It was deeply unsettling. They thought it was hilarious. Of course, they figured they were pranking each other in their sleep. But one night, around 2 a.m., my phone rings. It's Dave and Randy, and they are absolutely screaming. Panicked, I ran over, thinking there was a fire or a break-in. No, the duck had moved. They had left it on the kitchen counter, and now it was sitting perfectly balanced on one of the blades of their ceiling fan, just staring down at them. There was no way it could have gotten up there by itself. That's when the panic finally set in. They decided they had to get rid of it.
First, they threw it in the dumpster outside.
The next morning, it was sitting on their doorstep, completely clean. Then they tried flushing it down the toilet. I don't know how they managed that, but
they did.
An hour later, they heard a clanking sound from the pipes, and it just reappeared in the toilet bowl, dripping, but unharmed. In a final, desperate act, they boxed it up and mailed it to Randy's ex-girlfriend. 2 days later, it came back. Returned to sender. But this time, there was a little note tucked under the wing. All it said was, "Nice try." And that's when things got dark. The harmless prank stopped. Dave, who can barely speak English properly, started speaking fluent Latin in his sleep. Perfectly conjugated! Grammatically correct Latin. We looked it up. Randy's eyes started glowing red in photos. Not like a normal red eye effect, but like two laser pointers. And then came the final straw. One morning, they both woke up completely covered in feathers. Not just a few. I mean asterisk covered, asterisk, like they'd been tarred and feathered. But without the tar. They were just feathery. That was it. They couldn't take it anymore. They went back to the antique store, feathers still clinging to their clothes, and begged the old lady at the counter for help.
They explained everything, pleaded with her to take the duck back.
She just looked at them, a slow smile spreading across her face, and said the sign was pretty clear. Maybe next time, don't mock the duck. She refused to take it back. So now, Quackula has a permanent home. It lives in their fridge, on the top shelf, right next to the milk. They say it's the only place it seems to be content. And every single time they open the refrigerator door, they both politely say, "Hello, Quackula. Thank you for letting us use the fridge." They've learned their lesson. Some things just aren't worth the TikTok views. So, If you ever find yourself in a haunted antique shop, maybe just buy a postcard. Thanks for listening to my insane story. If you want to hear more about the chaos next door, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time!